clothing repair and basic sewing techniques for survivalism. In the context of survivalism, the ability to repair clothing and master basic sewing techniques is an essential skill for ensuring self-sufficiency in emergency situations. In scenarios where access to new clothing or sewing services is limited, such as natural disasters, prolonged crises, or evacuations, knowing how to mend tears, reinforce seams, or even create improvised garments can keep you protected, comfortable, and functional. This detailed guide explores key sewing techniques, necessary tools, repair methods, and strategies for adapting clothing in a survival context, offering a practical and comprehensive approach for survivalists. Why is sewing important in survivalism? Clothing is one of the primary barriers against the elements, providing protection from cold, heat, rain, wind, and even minor injuries. In a crisis, damaged clothing can compromise your safety, exposing you to harsh weather or hindering mobility. Moreover, replacing clothing may be impossible in scenarios involving infrastructure collapse or isolation. Mastering sewing and repair techniques offers the following benefits. Extending clothing lifespan. Simple repairs, such as patching tears or reinforcing seams, prevent garments from being discarded. Adapting to needs. Modifying clothing to suit the climate or function, such as adding pockets or reinforcing high-wear areas. Self-sufficiency. Reduces reliance on stores or external services, allowing you to keep your gear in order. Resource conservation. In times of scarcity, repairing existing clothing is more feasible than acquiring new items. Morale and comfort. Well-maintained, functional clothing helps sustain psychological and physical well-being. This guide covers everything from essential tools to specific techniques, focusing on practical methods that can be applied in the field, often with limited resources. Essential sewing tools for survivalism. A compact, portable sewing kit is indispensable in an emergency backpack or survival stockpile. Below, we list the basic items every survivalist should include. 1. Basic sewing kit. Needles. A set of needles in various sizes, small for thin fabrics, larger for heavy materials like canvas or leather. Threads. Polyester or nylon threads, which are more durable than cotton. Include neutral colors, black, white, gray, and some specific colors for camouflage or visible repairs. Small scissors or thread cutter. A folding scissors or thread cutter for precise cutting of threads and fabrics. Safety pins, useful for securing fabrics before sewing or for temporary repairs. Flexible measuring tape, for measuring fabrics or adjusting clothing. Thimble, protects fingers when sewing thick materials like leather or canvas. Extra buttons and zippers, include buttons of various sizes and spare zippers for quick replacements. Fabric patches, scraps of cotton, nylon, or canvas for covering tears or reinforcing worn areas. 2. Additional tools for advanced repairs. Sack or leather needle, for sewing heavy materials like tarps or backpacks. Paracord thread, can be unraveled to provide strong threads for improvised repairs. Fabric glue or tactical duct tape, for quick field repairs when sewing isn't immediately feasible. Portable sewing machine. Optional manual or pedal-powered models are useful for long-term bases but impractical for evacuations. 3. Kit storage. Compact container, use a metal tin, waterproof bag, or plastic case to protect the kit from moisture and facilitate transport. Size. The kit should fit in your emergency backpack, taking up minimal space, e.g., 15 by 10 centimeters. Organization. Separate items into compartments or plastic bags for quick access. Tip. Assemble a redundant sewing kit, with one in your emergency backpack and another in your survival stockpile, to ensure access in different scenarios. Basic sewing techniques for survivalism. Mastering a few hand sewing techniques is essential, as sewing machines may not be available in a crisis. The following techniques are simple, effective, and can be performed with minimal tools. 1. Running stitch. The running stitch is the most basic and versatile, used for joining fabrics or closing small tears. How to do it? Thread the needle and knot the end. Insert the needle from the underside of the fabric, pulling the thread until the knot rests against it. Make uniform stitches, inserting the needle up and down through the fabric, keeping regular intervals, about 3 to 5 millimeters. Finish with a knot on the underside. Applications: closing tears in clothing, joining fabric pieces, or making temporary hems. Tip: use smaller stitches for greater strength in fabrics under tension, like backpacks. 2. Backstitch. The backstitch is stronger than the running stitch, ideal for seams that need to withstand weight or movement. How to do it? Start as with the running stitch, but after each forward stitch, move the needle back about 2 millimeters and insert again. Repeat, creating a continuous, reinforced line. Finish with a knot. Applications: reinforcing seams in pants, backpacks, or tarps. Tip: use double thread for added durability on thick materials. 3. Overcast stitch. The overcast stitch prevents fabric edges from fraying. How to do it? Thread the needle and start at the fabric edge. Insert the needle diagonally, wrapping the thread around the edge, and pull through. Repeat, keeping stitches close to cover the entire edge. Applications: protecting patch edges or hems on clothing exposed to wear. Tip: combine with fabric glue for extra protection on delicate fabrics. 4. Blind stitch. The blind stitch is ideal for discrete repairs, such as hems on formal clothing. How to do it? Fold the fabric to create a hem and secure with pins. Insert the needle inside the fold, catching only a few fibers of the main fabric. Alternate between the fold and main fabric, creating nearly invisible stitches on the outside. Applications: shortening pants or repairing tears without visible seams. Tip: practice on scraps to master the technique before applying it to important clothing. 5. Patch sewing. Patching is essential for covering holes or reinforcing worn areas. How to do it? Cut a piece of fabric larger than the tear, about 2 centimeters margin. Align the patch over the hole and secure with pins. Use the running or backstitch to attach the patch, sewing around the edges. Apply the overcast stitch to the patch edges to prevent fraying. Applications: repairing holes in pant knees, jacket elbows, or torn backpacks. Tip: use durable fabrics like canvas or nylon for patches in high-wear areas. Common clothing and gear repairs. In survivalism, clothing and gear like backpacks, tents, or sleeping bags are subject to intense wear. Below, we detail how to address the most common issues. 1. Repairing tears. Small tears: use the running or blind stitch to close the tear, aligning the fabric edges. Reinforce with an internal patch for added durability. Large tears: apply an external patch, sewing with the backstitch. For waterproof fabrics, like jackets, use tactical duct tape as a temporary fix before sewing. Tip: in the field, use unraveled paracord as thread if sewing thread is unavailable. 2. Replacing buttons. How to do it? Choose a button similar in size to the original. Thread the needle, use double thread for strength, and knot the end. Insert the needle from the underside of the fabric, passing through the buttonhole. Sew in an X or parallel pattern, passing the thread through the buttonholes multiple times. Finish with a knot on the underside. Applications: repairing pants, jackets, or backpacks. Tip: place a toothpick between the button and fabric to create slack, making it easier to use. 3. Fixing zippers. Misaligned zipper: use pliers to realign the teeth or lubricate with dry soap. Broken zipper: replace the zipper slider or sew a new zipper using the backstitch. Tip: if replacing the zipper is impossible, use safety pins as a temporary fix. 4. Reinforcing seams. How to do it? Identify worn areas, e.g., backpack shoulders, pant knees, and apply the backstitch or overcast stitch to reinforce the original seam. Applications: preventing seams from opening in clothing or gear under stress. Tip: add a fabric patch to vulnerable areas for extra strength. 5. Adjusting clothing. Hems: fold excess fabric and use the blind stitch to shorten pants or sleeves. Size adjustments: for loose clothing, sew darts, small folds, on the sides using the running stitch. Tip: Adjust clothing to improve mobility, especially for evacuations on foot. 6. Gear repairs. Backpacks, patch tears with canvas and backstitch. Reinforce straps with thick thread or paracord. Tents or tarps, use nylon patches and waterproof duct tape to seal holes, followed by sewing with a sack needle. Sleeping bags, close tears with the running stitch and add internal patches to maintain insulation. Advanced techniques for survivalism. For more experienced survivalists, some advanced techniques can enhance versatility. 1. Sewing thick materials. Materials: canvas, leather, or waterproof fabrics. Tools: use a sack needle and thick nylon thread. A piercing tool, like a nail or awl, can ease needle passage. Applications: repairing tents, backpacks, or creating improvised shelters. 2. Creating improvised garments. Clothing: turn tarps or blankets into rain ponchos or vests using the running stitch. Accessories: craft bags or holsters from fabric scraps and paracord. Tip: use old clothing for practice before working with valuable materials. 3. Reinforcement with alternative materials. Paracord: unravel for strong threads or use whole for heavy-duty seams. Natural fibers: in extreme situations, use plant fibers, like nettle, to create improvised threads. Tip: test the material's strength before using it for critical repairs. Sewing kit care and maintenance. Storage: keep the kit in a waterproof container to protect against moisture and rust. Regular inspection: check every 6 months to ensure threads are intact and needles aren't rusted. Restocking: replace used items like threads or buttons to keep the kit complete. Practical tips for survivalism. Practice before a crisis: train sewing techniques on scraps to build confidence. Prioritize quick fixes: in the field, use duct tape or safety pins for temporary solutions before sewing. Adapt to climate: reinforce clothing with extra layers in cold climates or use lightweight fabrics in hot ones. Teach others: share knowledge with your family or group to increase collective resilience. Repurpose materials: use old clothing or scraps from damaged gear to create patches or new items. Common mistakes to avoid. Ignoring thread quality: cotton threads degrade quickly. Use polyester or nylon. Weak seams: avoid widely spaced stitches or thin threads in high-stress areas. Lack of practice: don't wait for a crisis to learn sewing. Practice regularly. Incomplete kit: a kit lacking varied needles or enough thread can limit repairs. Conclusion: sewing and clothing repair techniques are indispensable skills in survivalism, enabling you to keep your clothing and gear functional during a crisis. With a well-equipped sewing kit, knowledge of basic stitches, and regular practice, you can mend tears, reinforce seams, and even create improvised garments, ensuring protection and comfort in adverse scenarios. Start by assembling your kit, practicing the techniques outlined, and integrating sewing into your survival planning. In survivalism, self-sufficiency is key, and the ability to repair your clothing is a fundamental step toward achieving it. And remember, always be prepared.